Hello friends, and welcome to tonight's beer review. Tonight's going to be a very special beer review because I'm going to get pretty much shit-faced by the end of the night. Well, not really. It's Mexican beer. So what am I doing tonight? Well, I am going to be reviewing 4 beers tonight. You heard that right. 4 beers. And that's a lot. So, why am I reviewing 4 beers tonight? Well, my mom went and got a box set of Mexican beers. So, I have a whole bunch of Mexican beers here. And one was a leftover from my roommate. So, 3 of these beers are from the Cerveceria Cuauhtémoc Montezuma, and that is Sol, Tecate, and Dos Equis. The other one is from Grupo Modelo, and that is Pacifico. These are all macrolagers. These are all macro adjunct lagers, which means that they are not made with pure barley. They're made with corn and rice and whatnot, and they're basically made to be light body and have a very light ABV. All of these are 4.5 ABV, except for Dos Equis, which is 4.2. So I have 4 glasses here. I'm going to be drinking and sniffing each one, and so this is going to be a fairly long review, as you can probably tell. But the thing is, I probably won't be able to tell much because these are all macro adjunct lagers, and they're all going to be pretty much mediocre. So let's start with the old one. Let's see here. What's the date on this? No date. It's smeared. Clear piss yellow, as to be expected, with a frothy, quickly receding head, and carbonation. Smells of corn and a hint of floral hops. Maybe a little bit of crackeriness backbone to it. Next one. Sol. So gotta remember, Pacifico is going to be in the craft beer one. Sol is going to be in the pint mug. Another clear yellow fizzy beer with a frothy, quickly receding head. This one has a bit more of a grassy metallic scent to it. Not as pleasing as Pacifico, I must say. Bit of an earth backbone to it as well. And kind of like soda, a sort of soda carbon smell to it. Okay, Tecate. Okay, Tecate is going in the Pilsner glass. Yellow, quickly receding head. Seems to be slightly, yeah, maybe a shade darker than the other two. Head's a bit more frothy, but it also might be the Pilsner glass. Carbonated, clear. Corn. Bit more hops here. Still not much. Kind of got a bit of a off skunkiness to it. And finally, Dos Equis, which is going to go in the Blue Moon mug. Bright yellow, yeah, bright piss yellow, slightly thicker head, and I didn't wash this glass enough. There's bug bits in it, but that's okay. That's how life is. Even more of that sort of grassy, hoppiness. So I'm just picking out the bug bits here. Oddly enough, this is kind of the one that's got the most offensive smell to it. See, I thought it was just going to be the reverse. So, tasting the Pacifico. Yeah. This one has definitely sat for a while. There's a slightly sweet honey taste to it in the front. It sort of rapidly disappears. Hell of a lot of prickly carbonation. Just watery. Watery as very damn watery. Just very watery in the mid palate, and then pretty awful aftertaste that doesn't taste like hops at all. It just kind of tastes kind of chemically. Okay. Next up, Soul. Still has some head, oddly. I'll give it that for credit. Actually, not that bad. Sort of a corn chip taste to the front. Carbonation is good, but not prickly. Still fairly watery, especially in the mid palate. Definitely refreshing. Just a slight little hint of floral hops at the finish, but no bittering, really. I'm not getting much bitter. Well, probably because I've been blowing my palate away with Equis, but yeah, definitely not much to the finish. Just a little hint of floral hops. Not bad, though. I kind of like it. Onward to the Tecate. This one's got a bit of flavor to it, I have to say. Amazingly, it actually has a somewhat Pilsner-esque finish. You can kind of taste the, floral spicy hops at the end. Doesn't last, but it's there. It pokes his head out. You know what? The head's still pretty thick too. And kind of smells of hops. Doesn't smell like Pilsner hops, but I can place it sort of hoppy. Kind of a mustiness to that smell, but it's not translating into the beer. The beer is actually pretty flavorful, pretty refreshing. A bit prickly, but still okay. Just a hint of corn in the front, not much, kind of watery, but those hops assert themselves in the mid palate and continue into the finish. Doesn't last for long, but so far I'm liking this one the best. Excuse me. Thing is, these are gassy beers. They really put in the belch. Okay, the Blue Moon. I mean the Dos Equis in the Blue Moon glass. Well, kind of watery. I have to say, this one is the most watery. Still pretty decent carbonation. Kind of sweet corn in the front and middle. Almost no hops to the finish, though. Kind of corn juice, really. Unsweet alcoholic corn juice. So, I have to say right now, it's in between the Sol and the Tecate. I'm going to go and drink the Pacifico again. Pacifico's definitely got a different flavor profile than the rest of these. It's a hell of a lot sweeter up front. I'm going to guess that the bad taste is part of the fact that it's aged a lot longer in the refrigerator than these other three bottles. That said, the Sol and Tecate are keeping their heads, which is a good sign, which means that even for adjunct lagers, they're pretty well made. This one's definitely softer and much more pillowy. Excuse me. I'm starting to get bloated already. This one's got the biggest flavor profile. There's just one kind of offness to it. And that sort of mustiness that I got in the nose is kind of coming out in the flavor as it warms up. Corn water. I mean, this is really insubstantial here. So it's coming down to in between Sol and Tecate. Who will win? excuse me. I'm going to go and declare Tecate the winner of the Macrolager, the Mexican Macrolager Adjunct contest. You know, I was not expecting Tecate to win. I always assumed it was something that Mexican workers bought when they couldn't afford Grupo Modelo. But, you know, actually, this is not all that bad. It's you know, it's clearly an adjunct lager, but it still has taste. And I would follow that up with Sol. Now, that said, given the option of Mexican beers, I am going to, of course, take, first of all, Bohemia as my primary choice, and Negra Modelo as my second choice. But now, if there's nothing else available, I'm probably going to take a Tecate. So, as you can see over here, I have drank half of each. Am I feeling it? A little. I mean, I'm usually much more buzzed by the end of a whiskey review, to tell you the truth. I'm going to go and kill these two bad ones so I can just enjoy these two here that I kind of liked. So, end of story. If you're like me, you know what? These weren't so bad. I'm actually surprised. I thought Sol would be skunked to hell because it's in a clear bottle. Then again, this did come in a closed case. If it's in an open case, it might be a different story altogether. And Tecate, you know, I'm just kind of blown away by how drinkable it is. It's definitely, you know, it would be refreshing in the yard, and it would still be non-offensive to the palate. So, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Salud!